When it was announced, there was a major backlash to Nervatia's patch across multiple regions, from the number of S ranks we've had in a row, to the quality of the writing, to everything in between. On March 14th, 2026, the devs posted a letter of apology to players, stating that they would increase Hypertune and ticket rewards, as well as start posting something they called Babylonia DevComs, which they referred to as a recurring update where they'll share periodic updates on their development process. This seemed to cool the temperature of the fanbase, and fortunately, many ended up enjoying Nervatia's story quite a lot. On March 31st, 2026, the first Babylonia DevComs was dropped, but was it everything the devs promised? Let's dive in. After a brief overview of the story, the devs started by talking about how leveling up your characters is kind of annoying. And it's true, it takes quite a long time to level your characters, your memories, and if you're a whale, all their dupes. So they want to solve this with a feature that they call Quick Upgrade. Not exactly sure how it's gonna work, but it is promising. I'm sure everyone who participates in the beta tests just breathed a sigh of relief because you have to do so much upgrading in those. Of course, there are also going to be new areas of Babylonia and Babylonia mode in the future that you can explore. Interestingly, we also got a glimpse of Alpha's new frame from behind. We can see that, as usual, she wouldn't be caught dead wearing pants, but she does seem like she might have some cool back of the knee joint things going on. And given what we saw of her upper body before, I think she's going to look incredible. Really happy to see her hair down again, just like the original Alpha. In terms of story, there's going to be a new Philo tree dossier to let you see which characters are connected to it and read related story details. The devs did promise that there would be improvements for other content tied to story and presentation. And they used the example of the Double Seventh Festival, where you can enjoy some cute images. Likewise, they announced that the improved presentation for story content that we've seen in the last couple of chapters will be retained for the next one, and then they showed this off. Speaking of the next patch, releasing April 21st is The Dying Sun, a patch that debuts the very long-awaited Kamui Eternian. As many of us predicted, he's a firebreaker, and he's also got the plasma beam effect. The dev showed off his model, and my god, he has a really cool one. He is pretty much all metal. So those clamoring for more robotic characters in PGR are going to be incredibly stoked about this guy. And what a glow up this is for him. But I just want to point out for a second, look at those thighs. My god. Male characters usually do not get the mesh thigh window that emphasizes their muscles, but Kamui is built different and he looks amazing. The devs emphasized the solar core in his chest, powered by solar essence, and it's a definite focus for his animations. And did you guys notice that this part of his pose is just like Kamu's? It's mentioned that Kamui has a childhood story in this patch, and given his lore, if you've played Kamu's story, you might be wondering how that's going to happen, and so am I. In any case, his actual gameplay looks gorgeous. I love it. It's flashy and exciting. Gone are the days of Kamui being really slow. But then the devs brought up something that I found fascinating. Something that could get new players to actually stick with PGR. If you've tried to get anyone into this game, you know that the reason 90% of people quit immediately is the orb system. So many people just don't gel with it. They can't figure it out. They don't like it. Fair enough, it's kind of weird on PC especially. I personally am used to it and really like it, but I get it. But the devs have announced the old way of looking at the orb system is the expanded mode, and they're adding a new collapsed mode that shoves every orb into a single button press. You just see the number of that color orb beside it. This does seem like an evolution of the simplification of basically every newer character's orb systems, but I'm extremely curious about how this works with older characters especially. Like, how do you play the Match 3 game? Time will tell, but it's actually one of the updates from this that I think is the most fascinating, because you can still play the old way if you prefer. Collapsed mode should be incredible for controller players specifically. But it'll be really nice on basically anything that isn't touching the game with your fingers because there are so many buttons to press even on PC. I can't wait to get my hands on this. Anyway, as usual, there's going to be an affection story for Kamui, where you'll get to see a side of him he doesn't usually show to others. In terms of gameplay, there's a new roguelite mode on the way, called Shrouded Requiem. In this mode, Kamui will appear as a demon hunter and adventure alongside the Commandant. It's an alternate universe. Does PGR need more roguelite modes? Let me know if you enjoy them or you want to see the back of them. There's also a Butterdog collab game mode, so that's kind of fun and silly, but we get a nice view of Kamui's little dorm chibi. What a cutie patootie. And this is a big one, especially for newer players. Kamui's patch also brings with it the Wishing Target banner. Wishing Target is a banner where you can select any character in the game to pull from, in this case up to Rosetta Arette. This time you also get a 50% discount on the first 10 pull. Tell me in the comments if you want me to make a Wishing Target video to recommend certain characters. And the final major announcement for the patch is that Hanying Solace Tune is getting a leap. I'm sure many will be both glad or maybe dismayed to hear this. Glad because she's a little bit clunky, maybe dismayed because they're sick of using her. But I should emphasize that just because a character gets a leap, it doesn't mean that they will stay meta for a long time. Sometimes characters get a leap and then they get outclassed in like the next patch or two. That said, Hanying is the dev's baby. You can tell this because she has millions of codings. So maybe she'll stay around for a while. And that was basically everything the devs went over in this video. Earlier, I asked, was it everything the devs promised? And maybe. I mean, realistically, this was just an update about the next patch for the most part. Kind of like a mini live stream, except it wasn't a live stream. I actually kind of prefer this style. It's short and sweet, it tells you everything you need to know. There's no faffing about with all the extra fluff that live streams have. But it's also not exactly what I expected. I expected to hear about things that were coming a bit later down the pipeline than just the next patch or maybe the patch after, but it's not too bad. But how did you guys feel about it? I'm a fan and I would actually really like if they did this before every patch. It's just worth knowing that it's basically a preview. But speaking of Nervatia, you can still get an extra copy of her for free. So if you haven't done that yet, check out this video where I go through all the details of that.